Blessed be the reading of your word, Heavenly Father. Genesis chapter 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. So some would say that Joseph went and snitched on them. They didn't like that, but that's just the position he was in. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. Now, this is going to be a problem, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. So they're going to be a little jealous because of this. He made him this special coat. It's pretty obvious where his love is for this son. So the other sons didn't like this. A little jealousy was setting in. Verse 4. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about and made obeisance to my sheaf. Meaning, they was bundling up wheat. They was wrapping wheat in a bundle, and his stood upright, and all of theirs bowed down to his. That's what that means. In verse 8, and his brethren said to him, Shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. So they just hate building against their brother. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. So the sun and moon and 11 stars bowed down to him, right? The gods in the earth, the 5%ers, they use the sun, moon, and the stars. I believe this might be a source of that, Joseph's dream. Verse 10 right here. And he told it his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that you hast dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to you to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. So his brothers envied him, but his father peeped game like, we got to pay attention to this. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not your brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send you unto them. And he said to him, Here I am. And he said to him, Go, I pray you, see whether it be well with your brethren and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Now peep game. And a certain man found him. Now who's this man? Just some random man, right? Remember, he wrestled with a man. Remember, there was men that came to see Abraham before Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. And you asked me, you was like, how do we know these are angels? But they called them men, and we found further in the chapter with Sodom and Gomorrah, I forget what chapter that was, 18 or 19 of Genesis. We learned that those men were angels. Then we learned when Jacob got his name Israel, he wrestled with a man. And that man had power to hurt his thigh and gave him a new name, Israel, right? And then we saw that God appeared unto Jacob again and called his name Israel for a second time to establish his name as Israel. So now here we are. We see Joseph is going to look for his brothers feeding the flock. And this random man just shows up and tells him exactly where they at. So who is this man? I think this man is Christ in the flesh, or an angel letting him know which way to go, because he was there the whole time in the beginning. But remember, I said he's hidden throughout the book. So it says, and a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, What seekest you? Like he don't already know what he's looking for. And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray you, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brother and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. Now, this is his own brothers, man. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, it was Cain and Abel, and Cain slew his own brother. He said, Am I my brother's keeper? Well, yes, he is supposed to be his brother's keeper, but he killed his brother. So now look here, in verse 18, they see Joseph coming. Remember, they know his dad loved him more than he loved them. He made him a pretty nice, colorful coat, and they hated him. His brother started having dreams. They hated him more and more. They just kept hating him. And so as he's approaching, they conspired against him to slay him. See this? This is an important piece here because God wants us. Christ said, I'm just break it down to you real quick. Love ye one another. So all these brothers, right, conspiring to slay their brother like Cain did Abel. So let's see where this goes. Verse 19, and they said one unto another, Behold, this dreamer comes. Called him a dreamer because in his dreams, they all know that his dreams was telling them that he was going to rule over them. So they hated him more for that. On top of the fact that his daddy loved him more. So they just ain't no brotherly love happening right here. And they hating him. Just hate. Let's see where this goes. Verse 20. Come now, therefore. So they start conspiring against him. They talking. Now this is Judah speaking. This is Judah. It says, Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it. Now remember, Reuben was the firstborn, but he done already slept with his daddy's wife, so he done lost the right of the firstborn. Now Reuben heard it, but he's the eldest amongst the brethren. He's the oldest. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. So Reuben wanted to just let him go back to his pops, because Reuben already knows how important Joseph is to Jacob, because Jacob is the firstborn of Rachel. Remember, Rachel is the wife that he loved, and he worked them first 7 years for. But then Laban deceived him and gave him Leah. Just Joseph right here is Rachel's firstborn. And now Rachel then already died, remember? Because you see the connections here? Because Jacob spoke that curse, saying, Let whoever had them false gods, let them not live. And Rachel had Rachel had the false gods. So all this stuff is really deeply connected. Just trying to point this out to you. All right, verse 23. And it came to pass when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. So they stripped him naked. Now remember, in Genesis, they were naked in the beginning, and they didn't have no shame because they didn't have no sin. But once they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, their eyes were open, and they knew they were naked, and they were ashamed, and they needed covering. So God made them a coat, made them clothing of skins to cover their flesh. So now this brother comes to them, and he's got a coat, and so they strip him of his coat, strip him naked, and now his shame is showing. So this is how his brothers are doing him. Watch how this goes, man. Verse 24, and they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. So they going south down into Egypt. They coming from Gilead. These are merchants. They going to do business down in Egypt. Verse 26. And Judah, listen, remember, we are of the tribe of Judah. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content, so they agreed. They was cool with that. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So man, these cats then sold their brother, man, into slavery, yo. I mean, wow. So just no brotherly love. So the key in this book is to love the Most High God with all your heart, soul. I'm talking about the book now, the whole book. Love the Most High with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love you one another. And look what they doing to each other. This is what we supposed to do with brothers. We supposed to love each other. This is what's happening, right? And these are our family. Now watch, verse 29. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brother and said, the child is not, and I, whether shall I go? Because he's in control. He's the oldest. And right now, Joseph is the second youngest out of all these brothers. So Reuben is being held. He's responsible. He's the oldest one. So he's panicking. He said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. We know not whether it be your son's coat or no. So they done conspired and made up this whole lie, man. And they done sold their brother into slavery for 20 pieces of silver, almost like the 30 pieces of silver that they sold for Christ. You know, that old boy got, what's his name? Judas. The 30 pieces of silver that Judas got paid for selling Christ out. There's some typologies here, you know, some things that kind of match in the beginning and in the back, right? So they took his coat, killed one of the lambs, and they ate the lamb, had food. Then they put the blood on the coat, and then they took it to their father. Man, I gotta read you this story in the other book, man. It'll break your heart. All right. And they sent the coat of many colors. And verse 32, and they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this we have found. Now know whether it be your son's coat or no. And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces, torn in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes. He tore his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.